Hello everyone and welcome to the weekend video. There was no midweek video because I had too much to do, but the next 2 weeks are vacation, so I have more time for creation, which I will use. Today I have made a three-piece inspired by one of the Nike characters. For those who don't know, it's a gacha game. I'm just playing it for fun, not really for anything else. And it's a cool inspiration, which is kind of why I picked it up in the first place. So yeah, this is inspired by one of the characters. First part is a shirt. Yeah, you can see I'm using the Genesis 2 female, the bodysuit that I made myself. I'm using this as a basis. And first one was to cut up most of the stuff that I don't want. And yeah, as a shirt I wanted it to have buttons. So I opened the center up so that I could make this overlapping fabric in the very center, and then I went on to make the cuffs, which I'm currently doing. And one of the issues I had with the cuffs was that I put off the symmetry for obvious reasons for the center piece, and I forgot to put it back on. And when I noticed that, I wanted to delete the cuffs I already made, which broke down the software. Basically it crashed and I had to start, but I luckily just saved before I did that. So what I could do is just cut off all the cuffs, extrude the arm again, and then build both cuffs parallel, which worked quite well. A little bit of iterations here to make this flatter so I can add the inevitable buttons. And yeah, the whole thing is relatively simple from the design, like from the models. There's not that much detail because I wanted the whole thing to be relatively simple without not too overwhelmed, because again I wanted to do the AI background, which if you jump to the end you will see I did. So yeah, cuffs are relatively simple this time. I used the tube again. I made the middle a bit thinner just so that if it actually looks from the side, if you actually view it from the side for some reason, that it looks better. I also used the same cuffs for the buttons, or the same buttons as in the cuffs for the central piece here, for the central shirt. And the lower edge of the shirt is also a bit wavy because I didn't want to have a straight line, because I wanted to contrast the second piece, which I will come to later. One little detail that I built in is these edges that I basically used as a stand-in for the buttonhole. So instead of just cutting buttonholes, I just did the piece that basically just the layout, the seam of the button, which just gives the detail. It is there, it is visible. I actually should have changed the color in the final render to actually make them visible, but I just put them under as part of the edges here, so I kind of didn't do that. They will get their own not fabric, their own material, so I can have them have their own color. So I will basically just have to re-institute this, but this was relatively simple. UV maps, relatively good, very basic, but workable for what I wanted to do, since everything is getting a flat color anyway. Yeah, that's the first piece. And we're coming right to the second, which is the vest. Yeah, you see the turntable here. relatively simple, relatively short. The whole thing is oriented on the top. I basically just built the vest first and then resized it so it would work. Again, I had a little crash here at this very point for some reason. Yeah, and I basically had to reload in, but I just saved right before that. Again, lucky me, I started to just hit the save button all the time. And yeah, but I did the same things. I did the same steps and it didn't crash, so I guess it was just a one-time thing. For the cuffs, I actually tried this multiple times before I managed to be able to work on the piece more. Basically, I had 2 crashes there because I tried the same thing multiple times. But yeah, the vest has this collar thingy you see on sailor suits or something like that. I really like the visual style, so I basically just had it in there as well because it, for one, the character has it, which fits the character well, and it also looks really cool and really cute. So yeah, basic extrusion, just extrude the already made color to the side. Yeah, weld a few of the points and then make sure that the whole thing is visually there where I want it, away from the shoulder, and just visual as a 3D object. Yeah, for some reason it didn't, the program didn't grab, or the software didn't grab all the edges that I wanted when I used the connect tool, so I had to do some of this manually. And one of the things is about the edges that I'm currently working on. I used different strength of edges. For example, the vest that I'm working on has 0.2 strength of making the curves into tubes, while the shirt has 0.15 thick edges, which just lets it look a little bit lighter in comparison. If it's not really a big detail, but if you see both at the same time, the shirt just looks a little bit lighter because the edges are thinner. So that's a neat little trick if you want to work around with depth on particular pieces, especially on particular pieces that have no inherent depth from themselves. Yeah, one thing that I at this point should have noticed is that one of the buttons from the shirt is actually sticking through the vest. This is something I also have to remedy because I didn't notice. At this point I was so focused on the rest that I just didn't notice that. And yeah, I copy pasted the same buttons here. So these are copy pasted from the shirt. And yeah, one of them is sticking through, which means in Death Studio I had to resize the vest to make it fit. The last part is the pants. Yeah, this is again just a copy paste of the full body suit. I basically made 2 copies at the very start because I knew this was a 3-piece set. Helped me a lot. So yeah. Then I cut a hole here, basically just extruded a bit of this and cut a hole in it, because this is something that the original character has. A belt that basically goes into the pants more or less. And I actually thought about how I wanted to do this for a good time. And I, yeah, had this kind of solution which works quite well. The belt itself is another tube, very simple, very flat. This is something that I do a lot. You see me do a lot of these belts. I do not have a standard belt yet because usually the belt height changes a lot. I can copy paste that from the full body suit whenever I want to, but in this case I did a new one because it was quicker than just pulling in another full body suit and copy pasting a part of that and make it fit. I thickened the whole belt, basically because it works better with the materials when I have it thickened and then cut up at the right pieces, or the right, basically set the right seams. Yeah, and that's basically the whole thing. There's not really that much additional detail here. I did a front seam that goes down the pants. You can see that here, just to have a little visual cue, basically, that just helps the viewer focus. And then I basically just did the UV mapping again, which you can see I had to resize a bit because the UV map is not symmetrical. I still am not 100% sure how I make them symmetrical, but it is what it is, and I'm good with how this works. Had to pull out the seam because it kind of went into the pants, hidden into the pants, but yeah, that's basically it. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this. There will be more content in the coming 2 weeks. As always, stay healthy, stay safe, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next one.